everybody, it's Wendy, and today we are going to work on a necklace using some products from the April bargain bead box and some products from my stash. So I know you can see here that this necklace is already halfway put together, and it is, and there's a reason for that. I have struggled and struggled and struggled with this thing and thought about just not doing a tutorial at all, but then I thought, okay, when I show the finished version, everybody's going to ask for a tutorial, because if there's anything that I don't do a tutorial on when I show my finished project update, everybody asks for a tutorial. So I thought, well, I mean, I've struggled with this thing today, and I'll tell you why. It's been very difficult because I'm trying to use products from the bargain bead box this month, but the bargain bead box this month, though beautiful, I feel like was difficult to use because we had freshwater pearls and we had ball head pins that are too short to do much with. So freshwater pearls will not fit on most head pins or eye pins. Their holes are too small. You almost have to use a ball head pin. And when your ball head pins are this tiny, it's really hard. I tried cutting off the ball and doing a wrap loop on each end with just one pearl, and it was just too small. So I had to resort to using some gold ball head pins, which made me very unhappy with this because I didn't really want to, but that's the only way that I could get this to work. And I did not want to just string. I wanted to use some links. So if you just want to string these pearls on, you're in good shape because, you know, they'll string on with tiger tail. They'll string on with regular, any type of string you're wanting to use. But if you want to make any type of link, they're very difficult to use, so because their holes are so tiny. So yeah, I don't know. I struggled with that. So everything I was trying was not working. I was actually filming it, and I'm like, oh, this is terrible. I've got to stop. So I just cut off the filming and played with it for a while, and I think I finally got something that I am moderately happy with, though it's not the original design that I had wanted. So I'm going to show you what I did. So if you like it, you can do it yourself. And if you're having trouble, as I did, with these ball head pins being too short and the freshwater pearls not fitting on anything else, this is what I ended up doing. So here's what you're going to need. You're going to need the freshwater pearls. I am using some antique bronze spacers from my own stash. These are 3 and 4 millimeter. I'm using 5 of these medallion links, and this is another thing that I just felt like was very difficult to use out of this box because the holes in them are so tiny that you can't even fit a jump ring through, and the jump rings that they sent in the box this month definitely did not fit through these holes. So I had to take my beading awl and literally make these holes bigger. And you can do that, just be very careful. If you stab yourself in the finger, it hurts. So be very careful doing this. But if you put your beading awl in there and twist it and do it on both sides, you can widen those holes just enough to get a jump ring through, okay? So that's what I ended up doing to make them useful. I didn't really see any other way to use them. I'm not sure what their intended use is unless you just glue them on something. But like I said, they were not very good for putting anything through them because the holes were so tiny unless you widen them. So it does work to widen them, and that's what I did. So I did that on all of these 3 and these 2. Here's what I did with I did manage to fit this one freshwater pearl, and I tried all of them, okay? So the one freshwater pearl out of this whole strand fit on this eye pin. I don't know why. It has a really big hole, I guess, but it did. So I put him on here and made a link and hung this big medallion. Then I took some tiger tail right here, and I just strung on the pearls. Now my original intent was to make links, and I was going to incorporate these links in between the pearl links, but there's just no way to do that unless you have long ball head pins in an antique copper color, and I don't. Mine are not. I have a couple that are longer than the ones the bargain bead box sent this month, but they're not much longer, and so they just didn't work out. And the ones that they sent in the box this month definitely didn't work out. So that's what I ended up doing, is just stringing this on with tiger tail, and then I'm going to incorporate these in. So I'm going to go ahead and string the other half of this. So I used a 4 millimeter spacer on each side of my link there. And then I did 2 pearls and a 3mm spacer bead. So I'm just going to do that real quick. This tiger tail is Bead 7 strand, and it's in an antique gold or satin gold color. So that's what I'm using for tiger tail. So let's go ahead and put this one on. And yeah, this is not the original design I had in mind, but it'll work. It's going to be pretty anyway. I was wanting something a little simpler, but with those medallions incorporated, just because I felt like they looked so good with this medallion, but it just was not working out. It was very frustrating. So we'll just go ahead and do it this way. How many sets of these do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I've got 3, 4, whoops. I thought these freshwater pearls looked so pretty with this antique bronze. I didn't want to add a whole lot in, other than I just wanted to keep it kind of simple, but I ended up having to go a little more complex than I wanted to, but I still think it's going to look nice. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2 more. These pearls, the holes are just so tiny. I know that's the nature of freshwater pearls. Okay. So there we are with 7 sets on each side. Now, I may end up taking one off. Let me look here, because I want this to hang right about here. So the way that I make sure this is right is I just lay it out like it would hang if I was wearing it. So right like this, kind of pull it up, and yeah, I do need to take these last 2 off, I think. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this little link here, and I'm actually going to link this strand and this strand to a jump ring, and then link them to this, because it's going to make them lay better that way. So I'm going to take my crimp bead, put it on this end, take my wire guardian, just go up and through. You want to go up and around this little channel like this, and back through your crimp bead, and make sure that you pull that down to where this is not looped up like that. You don't want it to be looped up that way. Okay? And I like to take these wire guardians and bend them in like this. I just think it looks a little bit better. I'm going to pull that tight again. And you want to make sure that your strands in here are not crossed over each other. They need to be side by side. I don't know if you can tell, but mine are side by side right there, because when I crimp them with the pliers, it's going to create a little channel in between the two. Okay, so that creates a little channel in between the 2 wires. Each one goes in their own little channel, and that way when you crimp this closed, it's going to crimp better. And then I just take my pliers, I turn it the sideways here, whoops, and I crimp it into the little ball. And I do that all around.
Mail has arrived.
And honestly, my crimps never turn out good. Doesn't matter what I use, what plier I use, what crimp I use. Okay, Alexa, thank you. The mail has arrived. Everybody knows now. They never turn out good. So I am going to use this little crimp cover. And I'm just going to slide it right over there. close it down to cover up my ugly crimp. Okay, just like that. And you might have to use your pliers a little bit to round this out, because sometimes they get a little wonky too.
Mail has arrived.
Oh my goodness, what is going on? The mail has arrived now 3 times. Okay. So I'm just going to pull this up. I like to leave just a little bit of wire and feed it down into my beads. All right, just like that. Now, you want to crimp this to where it's not, you don't have a lot of room, but yet you need a little bit of movement, because you don't want it to be so tight that it won't lay, you know, that it like lays weird. So when you do this side, you have to be a little bit careful to make sure that there's just a little bit of room for movement for your beads. Okay, let's try to get this one down in this freshwater pearl. There we go. Push it down in there. I'm going to pull it out here. Now I'm going to hold my wire guardian right here and pull this other one down, okay? Now if you see, this is like, there's a little movement here. It's not so tight, but yet there's not a lot of things flopping around. So that's what you want. You just have to find that happy spot right there. Okay, so I'm going to move this up so it's not loose in there. And I'm going to go ahead and crimp this. Actually, let me turn it this way. Well, what's going on? Get down on there. It's trying to grab my wire guardian instead of my, hold on, let me tighten it up a little bit more. This is the tricky part, is the other side where you have to be, you've got your beads kind of in the way. There we go. Okay. So I got my little channel. I'm going to crimp this closed. And pull on it, make sure it's tight, and it is. And then I'm just going to put my little crimp cover on. Okay, just like that. And then we'll cut this little snaggle off over here. And there we have this piece. Okay, now I'm going to hook these two together with my jump ring. These are some jump rings I pulled out of my own stash. They're a little smaller than the bigger ones that the bargain bead box sent. Not a lot smaller, but just a little. Here's the difference. I think this is a 6mm and this is a 4. I just prefer the smaller ones, so that's what I'm using. And I'm just going to hook these two together. I want to do the pearl strand on the bottom, then my my chain strand, and then I've got to find where I drilled my hole, and I want to hook this one to make sure that the finished part faces forward. I think I did that right. Yeah, there we go. Sometimes I put them on backwards accidentally. Okay, and we're going to do the other side the same way. So this one goes on the bottom, then my chain piece. Then I want to make sure that this faces the flower part, the finished part faces the front. And there we have it. Okay. Now, I want to, these are 2 little wrapped loop links that I made with my own head pins, because like I said, I did not have any antique bronze head pins that matched that were long enough. So I'm just gonna, I hope these are okay. I don't know if it shows up, then I may have to take them off. But I really wanted a pearl link here, just to tie it in with the bottom, so we'll see. So I'm just going to hook that on there. Make sure that's laying right. It is. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Okay, and then all I'm going to do is hook chain up the sides. So you just need to take your chain that was in the box and measure how long you want your necklace to be. Okay, so I think probably for me, I usually do about 6 inches up the side, and then I'll put an extender on it if I want it to be a little bit longer. So I think I'm going to do 5.5 just to be safe. I don't really like them real long. If it was just this piece, I would want it long, but with the multi-strand, I don't tend to like them that long. Okay, so then I'm just going to take an eye pin or a piece of wire, anything straight. I'm going to put this on here and this on here. Okay, I'm going to get the exact measurement there and cut this. That way you don't have to count lengths, you don't have to try to measure inches again. You just hold them up next to each other and cut, except for cutters aren't wanting to work. I need to sharpen these cutters. There we go. Okay. Now I'm just going to take a jump ring on each side, and I'm going to hook the chain right here onto the little pearl links. Just make sure you get your rings closed. And that is the garage door, if you can hear that rumbling. Chris is either opening it or closing it. Sounds like he's going out on the motorcycle, so okay. So here we have a beautiful little necklace. Now we need to put our ending on. I am going to hold this up and make sure it's not too long on me. Let me do that real quick. And actually that looks like it's going to be about perfect. So I'm going to add on my clasp. I like these box clasps they included this month. These are really secure. I'm picky about box clasps. Some of them, I don't like the kind that just go directly in, and this has a catch to it and will stay. I have lost a lot of jewelry when I've used regular box clasps that just, they don't, I'm going to put this piece on first. They don't catch when they come loose. So yeah, I don't like those at all. But these are really nice. And the way these work is you have your clasp. This just slides in around it. See, you've got this little piece on the end. This slides in around it, slides in and is closed. And then if you want to open it, you just push those together and pull it out. And see, it's not going to come loose so easily and fall off because it has that catch in it. So I really like these. My boss at work always uses these too. Okay, so let's go ahead and put this one on. And there we have it. So I am going to put it on a form and clean up my mess here a little bit, and I will show you the finished product. Hold on. Okay, so here's our finished necklace, and I really like this, the way it's turned out. I think it's really pretty. Even though it's not the design that I originally was going for, I do like it. I think it turned out nice. So if you're interested in subscribing to Bargain Bead Box, it is $17.98 a month, delivered straight to your door. It's a great deal. You get all kinds of awesome stuff in the box, and I have a coupon code that I will link in the description box below if you're interested. I am going to get off here and get some other stuff done, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.